Masa sekarang sudah 9.30. Sekarang kita akan bermula kita punya ceramah, community ceramah. Okay guys, selamat datang semua. Apa khabar? Tak dengar apa khabar? Boleh kuat lagi. Apa khabar PJ? Itu dia. Selamat datang ke ceramah section 11. I am very happy to see all of you here coming to our ceramah. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abul Kas bin Anwar and my title in MUDA is the Ketua Parlimen Damansara. So, if we look according to the old, we call Ketua Bahagian, but for us we call it Ketua Parlimen. Ketua Parlimen Damansara. But I am here today as part of Team Raja because I am a PJ boy. So he asked me to join because I know the land, I know the people, I know the culture. So that's why I am here in Team Raja. Alright, I would like to say thank you again to everyone and would like to start the ceramah. For the first speaker, I would like to call. He is our night president, but he is also the DJ radio of Syarikat Radio Ikan Emas. Raise your hand to those who know what Syarikat Radio Ikan Emas is. I understand, nobody knew. Okay, I would like to introduce our night president, Zaidil Bahudin, our first speaker. Please give a round of applause.
Test. Sini. Oh. Okay. This is the camera. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Selamat malam tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian. Sebelum itu saya ingin memperkenalkan diri saya. Nama saya Zaidil bin Baharudin, Naib Presiden Parti MUDA. Tadi rakan seperjuangan saya, saudara Abul Kas Anwar ada sebut tentang Syarikat Radio Ikan Mas, lupakan itu hanyalah jenaka dalaman. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, di musim pilihan raya ini memang menjadi budaya untuk kita berceramah. Kita berceramah untuk perkenalkan diri, perkenalkan calon, perkenalkan parti. Ya, supaya anda mempunyai pilihan, manakah wakil rakyat yang terbaik boleh mewakili hasrat dan komuniti anda. Tapi sebelum itu, Encik Abul, saya diberitahu bahawa penduduk di sini lebih selesa kalau saya berbahasa Inggeris. Betul, Encik Abul? Betul kan, tuan-tuan? Maka dengan ini saya nak minta izin kepada pengacara majlis untuk meneruskan ceramah politik saya dalam bahasa Inggeris. Boleh, tuan? Bolehkah hadirin dan hadirat sekalian? Okey. Tapi kalau ada sebarang soalan nak tanya, boleh angkat tangan nanti. Saya boleh cuba betul dalam bahasa kebangsaan. Saya cuma fasih dalam bahasa Inggeris dan bahasa kebangsaan. Bahasa lain saya tak berapa fasih lah. Saya minta maaf. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now, it's obviously when you say VKK Raja, you look at me and you look at Syed Saddiq. You are wondering, why are we contesting here in Selangor? Why is Raja standing for PJ? For Bukit Gasing? Why are we here today? And so I know you've been told that, you know, if you don't vote for a particular party, the other side is going to win. If you don't vote for this particular party, the other side will take over. Well, I say that it's about time we stop this sort of a politics. It's about time that we don't simply give our vote away just because we are being blackmailed. And yes, I use the word blackmail. And you know why I use the word blackmail? Because if your only manifesto is that if you don't vote for us, the other side wins, that is a horrible argument. That is not a reason why you should cast your vote. Let me tell you this, right? And when you go to a pasar malam, and there's a bunch of parking, and then suddenly you will see one smart aleck put over their chair or cone and saying this, saya sudah cop parking ini. Even though they're not supposed to do that. We feel annoyed, right? This is a public parking. This public parking belongs to whoever comes here first. And we don't like people who say that, oh, this parking belongs to us. Now, if we are annoyed by parking in Pasar Malam or residential area, by putting cones and chairs, why in the world are we allowing for certain parties and certain groups and certain politicians to say that Bukit Gasing belongs to one party? Bukit Gasing belongs to one candidate. Bukit Gasing belongs to one particular coalition. I say no. I say Bukit Gasing belongs to its voters and its community. And the voters of Bukit Gasing has the right to choose whoever they feel best to represent them. And the reason why MUDA is here, we're not here to break anyone's votes. We're not here to be a spoiler. No, ladies and gentlemen, no. We are here to provide an alternative. We are here to put forth a candidate who is not only far better looking than Syed Saddiq, but also is as smart and as hardworking and as thoughtful as our president. I know this. That's why I'm campaigning for him. Because birds of the same feather flock together. And as you can see from the picture and myself, we are both quite good looking. Or at least that's what I think. But jokes aside, that's what it's all about. That's why we say about new politics. Ladies and gentlemen, do not hear the propaganda that says if you vote for MUDA, this will happen, they will take over and this and that. This is a state election. The federal government will stay. The Prime Minister will maintain. If anyone were to topple the Prime Minister, it will not be from MUA. It would be from Bagan Datuk. So not many people get that thing. What I mean is that chances are, if anyone that is threatening the reforms within the Madani government, it won't be from MUA, it won't be from Syed Saddiq, it will be from UMNO. Regardless of what people may say about our president, after the election, remember the drama of who's going to be the Prime Minister? Syed Saddiq's statutory declaration and support never went to anyone else. It never went to anyone else. We kept our promise and it went to Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Yet they call us traitors, they call us spoilers, they call us those who's trying to break up. Yet half, probably more, than the cabinet ministers actually first gave it to Muhyiddin Yassin. Now, I don't want to go back on what happened post-Sheraton move or last general election, because what's past is past. What we must discuss here today is why are we contesting in this state election? May I remind you, it will not affect the federal government. It will still maintain the Prime Minister. They have 2/3 of MPs in the Dewan Rakyat. The reason why we are contesting in the state election is that even with 2/3 of the Dewan Rakyat, even with the 2/3 of Dewan Rakyat, we still could not enact reforms. All the promises that we said during the Ceramah in the last elections seem to go to waste, seems to go down the drain. And only a few days ago, the Deputy Prime Minister, the President of UMNO, blatantly went up on a Ceramah stage and tried to buy our votes with promises of this peruntukan and that peruntukan. And not only was it allowed, and when MUDA criticizes, look, this is the kleptocrats back in power. They're trying to buy votes with your money. He was defended by the same people who said almost the opposite in the last general election. We are here to be the check and balance of this community, of this state. We don't want you to vote for us because you fear another group, nor you fear because we hate another group. No, we want to offer a better alternative for Bukit Gasing and Selangor. Because, like it or not, truth be told, we need a very good check and balance. We do. Look at PJD Link. What happened to it? Everyone was protesting. Yet another highway where you have to pay toll to use it that will then ruin your neighborhood. From KEDEX rebranded to PJD Link, after pressure, after pressure, after pressure, and when MUDA starts to talk about it, and also PSM. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, the Menteri Besar cancelled it. I mean, folks were ecstatic. They were happy. We were happy too. But I caution myself with an old saying, and with an old Malay saying, which goes something like this. Tuan-tuan puan-puan, kalau nak tahu apa petanda jantan tak guna dalam memilih suami, tengoklah janji-janji manis dia. Dia janji 1000 kali janji, belum tentu dia boleh tepati. And so like the saying, which I just made up a few minutes ago, I made that up, sorry. In less than 48 hours, the Yang Amat Berhormat Menteri Besar made an about turn. Made a U-turn. Oh, actually, bukan cancel. We just put on hold. If the EIA is okay, we might revive the project again. Apa ni? Apa ni Amat Berhormat? Rajiv baru je seronok share press statement. Apa ni? Tengok PJD link ada pop. Tak masa, be less than 48 hours U-turn. Correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, if you enter a highway, you make a U-turn, kena bayar toll kan? Now, let's make them pay for this decision. Can or not, Bukit Kasing? Let them pay. They made a U-turn. They should pay for it. They should pay for it. And that's why we are here today. One of the things that is close to our, and when I say check and balance, right? It's important for you to have an adun who then raises up your voice, who dares to speak up for you on your behalf. Yes. And which is why I'm a bit concerned. In this election, there is another alternative, which is Perikatan Nasional. You know, look, we get it, what you're trying to do. But if we keep on harping race and religion, race and religion, race and religion, we will never be a country that will move forward. We will never progress. You don't hear anything about PJ Dealing from Perikatan Nasional. They keep saying, Melayu ini, Melayu itu. Saya pun Melayu bang. Tak adanya apa, okey je. Look, you know, there's nothing wrong with identifying yourself with your race. I'm a proud Malay first. I'm a proud Muslim. But I think we need to move on than that. When we sing Negaraku and we say Tanah Tumpah Darahku, what do we mean? Because when we were born and the blood is spilled on this soil, which is why when we sing Negaraku, it says Tanah Tumpah Darahku. And the other reason why it's Tanah Tumpah Darahku is because we will die in this land as well. We need a politics, we need a culture of politics that goes beyond that. It's no longer about Melayu, China, India. Look, Indonesia has 230 million population. They are opening up. Philippines has 19 million population. They are opening up. Thailand, Vietnam, we need to be together. We need to unite and fight. We need to bring the best of Malaysians to run this country, to become our MP, to become our Audun. And Perikatan Nasional isn't interested in that. They're so crazy in becoming who's the next Prime Minister. The sad thing of politics right now, we have two big blocks fighting on whoever is in power, yet no one seems to talk about the plight of the people. And which is why MUDA, even though we've been called names, we've been said many words about us. Oh, this one, backed by Tun Mahathir, this and that. Come on lah. Come on lah. From the past few elections, we clashed more than Pejuang than ever with PKR or DAP. But you know what? Sometimes you got to take the risk. Doing the right thing isn't always easy. People were saying that we will lose our deposits, that it is foolish and stupid for us to go alone in this election, that our candidates are too young, they're not mature enough. Well, I say, guess what? Maybe for once, we want politicians who decide to do the right thing, not the easy thing. And you're saying that our candidates are not mature enough. Have you seen the MPs in Dewan Rakyat? Have you ever seen Syed Saddiq say obscene words or swear? All those annoying, uncouth, loud mouth and empty cans, they're not that young. Because maturity doesn't come from age. It comes from mind. It comes from intellect. It comes in character. MUDA is not about age. No, it's not. MUDA is kesegaran. It's fresh. MUDA is new or baru. And that's why our politics is politik baru. We want to bring forth a culture of politics where we fight for your votes. We want your vote. We don't blackmail you, say, if you don't vote for MUDA, the guy in green, they're going to take over. No, we will never say that. What we want to say, if you vote for MUDA, if you vote for VKK Raja, if you vote for Abby here? I saw her just now. Abby, you vote for a wakil rakyat whose name in front will be YB, tetapi yang berkhidmat. And of course, if after 5 years, they also become malas, got datuk-ship, ada outrider, kick them out. Kick them out. Right? So that's the thing. That's why we're here. Which comes to my second point, when we talk about our community. Because, let's be clear, even though Bukit Gasing is, you would consider an urban area, you consider a city. And by definition of all political pundits and newsmen, they would say Bukit Gasing is an urban area. It's the Klang Valley. It's the Klang Valley bubble. But more than that, it is our home. It is our community. It is our kampung. Betul. This is the place where your children grew up. They went to school. You go into your golden years. Your grandchildren come back and play every Christmas or Deepavali or Hari Raya. This is your kampung. It's not my kampung. Mine is in Hulu Kelang. But this is our kampung. Klang Valley area, community. And the thing about our community is that 90% of the issues in our community, the power lies in local councillors. Right? Jalan rosak, longkang sumbat, lampu, tak ada tempat jalan kaki. They're all by local councillors. Now I want to ask you, does anyone know who your local councillor's name is? I know I don't. And you want to know why? Unless you're with the RA Association, because you will always fight with local councillors. And the reason for that is that local councillors are not elected but appointed. They are politically appointed. Now, I'm not belittling your local councillor, far from that. But what I'm questioning and what the party is questioning is the system that appoints the local councillor. Like it or not, if the local councillor is appointed by the Menteri Besar, who do you think he or she will listen to? You or the Menteri Besar? Menteri Besar. This is human nature. This is human nature. Which is why we understand that when it comes to the private sector, competition is always good. Then why, when it comes to public service and politics, suddenly competition is not good? I think, Syed Saddiq think, Raja think, that you, ladies and gentlemen, ought to be able to elect your own local councillor. Let he or she be a community leader. Let he or she lives in the area. Because they will know where it needs to be fixed, what is the local problem. Because you folks pay quit rent. You folks pay taxes. And I say, no tax without representation. We will fight for your representation. Which is why one of our manifesto is not to topple the Prime Minister. No. Not to make Saddiq become Prime Minister. No. Our manifesto is simply to reintroduce local council election. Yes. It's a modest proposition. It's not the moon and the stars. It's not speaking ill about our opponent. It's simply for that our PJ, our community, should be our local councillors. As simple as that. Because better service at the local level means better community. A better community is a better future for our children and ourselves and our families. Simple as that. Folks, I know that you will receive a lot of WhatsApp videos and texts and stories about MUDA, about Syed Saddiq, and probably about Raja. But in the end, beneath all of this massive inflow of information, of gossips, of attack stories, of this and that, attacking this person, in the end, what matters is not what a person say, is what they do. Judge MUDA by what we did. Because I'll be frank with you, regardless of what people say, spoiler la, Trojan horse, whatever, the path that we pick is the difficult one. It's not about negotiating so that Syed Saddiq will be a cabinet minister. No. We never wanted that. What we wanted was reforms, actual reforms, so that regardless of whoever becomes the prime minister, the country will be okay. And that is what this election is about. Now, while we can't influence federal policies, we sure can influence on the state level. And this is where we start. And so, one of the things that we want is when we put forward a candidate, it is a reflection of our aspiration, of our politics, of what we think Malaysia should be. Which is why we put forward Encik Raja. Can you please stand up, please? And as you can obviously, from his hairline and mine, bald middle-aged men are very good looking. Nampak? Tengok Abol? This is what we call midlife crisis, you know. Sorry, I mean, it's in politics, you know, got to stress it now. We got to find joy where we can. And so the idea, the aspiration is that he is active in his own RA. He's a local boy who understands the aspiration of the local community. And so if you do meet him while he's on his rounds, when he goes to the pasar, say hi and question and talk to him. So what are you going to do for PJ? What are you going to do for Bukit Gasing? What are you going to do for my community? And he will answer as best as he could. I'm asking you to give him your vote, but I also think that you should test him and decide whether he is worth your vote. And I ask, you do the same as well to the other candidates. If you meet the candidate from Perikatan Nasional, ask, am I wrong? Why do we keep going on the race and politics and religious politics? What are you going to do for Bukit Gasing? If you bump into the candidate from Pakatan Harapan, what is your stand on local council election? Question him. Ask him. Ask them what is their stand on this U-turn on PJD link. And after you've done your research, and after you made up your mind, and then you cast your vote. Because we believe that if we want to have a seat in Bukit Gasing, it's not through negotiations with Pakatan Harapan, it's not through pandering to Perikatan Nasional, but it's to prove ourselves to the real owners of Bukit Gasing, which is the voters here. And that's why we have the ceramah here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to prolong this speech longer, because within MUDA I have a reputation that whenever I get the mic, I don't want to let it go. Which is why they don't like to go to karaoke with me. It's really I can sing 7 Elvis songs. You know? I just want to brag a bit lah. When I sing, Elvis sounds exactly like me. Nampak? Are you lonesome tonight? Kan dah macam Radio 4 pula hari Ahad. But I hope you do get what I'm trying to portray here. And we're not full-time politicians. Raja is a businessman. I'm an engineer. Abul, well, he's a man of the streets. We don't do this full time. We have day jobs. We're just like you. We have salary. And a lot of our candidates throughout the Selangor. I mean, if you can talk to your relatives and friends about MUDA in Selangor, let me tell you how hard is it for a 23-year-old girl in Bukit under Remangsa, for a 26-year-old female candidate in Sungai Kandis, for a lot of young, and we have some older candidates as well to go into. They have to sacrifice, they have to resign from their jobs, they take out their savings because they believe that it's about time Malaysia ought to have a choice. Ought to have a choice. And by the end, if you think we are not your choice, we will respect you. We won't call you names. We won't belittle you. But all we ask is for a chance to consider us. And so before I end, I'd like to switch back to my native language, to our native language. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, saya teringat kepada pantun Melayu lama. Berbunyinya begini. Kalau memilih tempat mandi, pertama teluk, kedua pantai. Kalau memilih pemimpin negeri, pertama elok, kedua pandai. Kalau tuan-tuan dan puan-puan rasa adalah sikit eloknya, adalah sikit pandainya, calon-calon kami seperti Raja, seperti Dobi, seperti Abby, saya pohon dengan penuh rendah diri, satu undi untuk Parti MUDA. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, come on, ladies and gentlemen, give one more round of applause to Zaidil, our night president. All right, PJ, I want to hear your strength because I'm seeing a lot of people coming at the back. Bila saya kata PJ, you kata kita. PJ, kita. Kuat lagi. PJ, kita. PJ, kita. Okay, ada banyak lagi tak cakap lagi. I mean, going on. After every speaker, I will do that. For the next speaker, I am very proud to announce he is contesting in my constituency, Sri Setia. I would like to welcome Adobe Chu.
Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Hey. So I kind of feel bad because they made joke about middle age and hair loss. And now here I am, a young man in crisis with very long hair. And if anyone's going to ask if I'm going to cut it, we'll decide later on. So I have never thought in my life I'll be in Bukit Gasing, campaigning for a colleague, for an ally who have believed in the same cause that I do in MUDA. And why Bukit Gasing is a surprise to me. My first home is always Subang Jaya because that's where I stay in some way. Seri Setia is my second home because it's right across the road and my office is there. Why this is a third home for me is because I studied at CHS for 5 years in my life. And traffic jam outside, that one in the morning, we all know how bad it is. That one goes without saying. So why am I here tonight? There's one question I want to pose to all of you. Are we a democracy? If you think we are a democracy, the next question I'm going to ask, in our constituency in Petayan Jaya, in Bukit Gasing, in Bandar Utama, in Subang Jaya, and maybe even Seri Setia, when was the last time you looked at the ballot paper and you felt like you have a choice? And what do I mean by that? You look at the ballot paper most of the time, you might have a bebas, you might not have a bebas. You will have someone from Pakatan Harapan. Used to be you have someone from Barisan Nasional, and at one point Barisan Nasional and PAS, and then you have Perikatan Nasional now. Do Barisan Nasional and Perikatan Nasional actually represent what you want at your heart? Do they represent the policies that you want? We are a multicultural country. Some places might be more divided than others. But here in the heart of PJ, we are always mixed. No matter where you go. Kedai mamak, semua bangsa ada. McDonald's, everyone's there. Bar, maybe 50-50 lah. But the point is, we live together, we stay together, and this is what we want, and this is what we aspire to. And there has never been any doubt in PJ that that is where we want to go. Right? And when we look at the ballot paper when we go on voting day, and you look at the list of choices you have, what do you have before this? Pakatan Harapan was the only logical vote you have if you believe in this sort of multiculturalism. Barisan Nasional used to represent that. But that was lost somewhere along the way when they decided to play a different kind of game. And now this election, walking into the election, for once, even for myself in Subanjaya voting, there's a third option. MUDA. Yes, some may say, what different are you from Pakatan Harapan? Your ideas are almost the same. I'll only say one thing. Our candidates are new, yes. And some people see it as a bad thing, and some people say, hey, this boy is so young, can lah. Go back school lah, still so young. But look at them and say, no, I come with new ideas. I come with conviction, with a fresh belief. And most important to the voter, we are a new party, you don't like us, it doesn't take much to get rid of us. Right? If you're voting for PH and you don't like them, good luck trying to get rid of them. If you're voting BN in another seat, if you don't like them, you try to get rid of them, good luck to you. It's a monumental task. But MUDA, we are fresh. We bring new ideas. If it really doesn't work, you always have the option of getting rid of us, which I don't think you will. I may not have been a MUDA member a very long time because our party is still new. But the people I've seen, the people I've saw, met, talked to, they all share a common vision, despite coming from different walks of life. You have me, that's someone that came from a human rights NGO. You have Raja that comes from a business background. You have engineers. You have a man of the street, and a man of the town, and man of the village. But we all stand for the same cause. We believe in a multicultural Malaysia, and we believe in a Malaysia that's fair opportunity for everyone. I hope there's someone that disagrees with the idea. Like, if someone disagrees with the idea, you might be at the wrong ceramah. Now, go back to the question when I asked, are we a democracy? The younger side of us here and some MUDA member might not remember what 2008 was. It was a monumental change to our country's politics. The Selangor state government was taken over by Pakatan Harapan. I'm sure the older generation, you remember what that felt like, right? Even as 18 years old, when I still cannot vote back then, if it's now I can, that feeling was new. There was hope in the air that things could be better. We could change the country for the better. And Pakatan Raya back then was a hope for a lot of us. And they brought a lot of positive change, don't get me wrong. I still remember how chaotic managing a council area was. I don't even remember there's such a thing called local councillor back then. Maybe I was too young. But within a term, Pakatan Raya back then fixed a lot of the issues that we had at the state level. Yeah? Let's not deny that. They have contributed greatly. But let's not also forget, how did we get there? What has led to that decay where Selangor state government wasn't even serving us anymore? 50 years of administration and the arrogance that comes with it. And now it has been 15 years of Pakatan Harapan's rule in one form or another for the past 15 years in Selangor. It has been their crown jewel of administration, and they treat it like it belongs to them and no longer with the people. PJD Link is just one of many examples. Kuala Langap Forest Reserve is one of the examples. A&W also almost got taken away at one point or another. And everyone loves the A&W. So to me, in a lot of ways, I've been feeling over the years, more and more, my Wakil Rakyat no longer represents my view or my interests or my voice. If I do, I wouldn't be standing here contesting in Seri Setia. And I believe Raja will be their voice. He's from here. People know him. And he has shown that he's a man of Bukit Gasing. And I want everyone here to know, the fight is not just for Bukit Gasing alone. It's bigger than Bukit Gasing. Bukit Gasing, all things said and done, this side of PJ, when you go around town, it's very nice. It's very pleasant. You can go hike on Bukit Gasing, come down, your car is still there. Maybe the window might not be sometime a while ago, but most of the time your car is still there. Right? You have Bukit Gasing to go to. You have a lot of nice taman to walk around here. You got Taman Jaya, which used to be absolutely horrendous, but now it's decent. You can actually run by the lake without fainting now. This is all true. This is done by good work from the previous government. But take a 10-minute drive down MPE. Look at Taman Medan, who share this constituency with you in Parliament. Look at Seri Setia. Can we look at ourselves and say that this government has done it right by them? We have some of the poorest district, PPR district, in the area there, in Petaling Jaya. And these are not people who came here because they were poor or whichever, and they are not people who are here to lie, steal, and cheat. They were people that helped us develop Petaling Jaya collectively. They are the people who came in here where somewhere that side, somewhere in Mentari is nothing but a Setinggan. They were here before when it was still a palm oil plantation. They were here before anything else. They worked with us side by side, even whether we realize it or not, and built up what is known as Petaling Jaya today. And just today, I was at a PPR, where the only common area among 5 blocks of building, of each having at least 300 houses there, around 10,000 people, give or take. This space that you have here, right in the middle of the road, is better than what facilities they have. Is that fair? And these are not people who do bad things in life and get themselves there. You know who they are? They are the kind of dispatch rider when you call at office and you send a document. They are the Grab food driver that brings you your food. They are the Lala move that help you move your thing. And yes, it's not Bukit Gasing, but it's still the same Selangor government. If we say the Harapan candidate here has done good, what has he done to make sure that his colleague there is doing good for the people? Why do I need to cross one street, well, one highway down, and suddenly it's a whole different Malaysia, where they are born in the same place as we are. Even their IC number says 10 in the middle. Do they deserve any of this? No, they deserve better. So to me, a vote for Raja is not just a vote for Raja for Bukit Gasing alone. It sends a clear message to the Selangor state government that we know things are not good anymore. We know things are changing. And we want them to know that we have an alternative and we can choose differently if we want to. But not to vote for a guy that we know doesn't share our belief and ideology. They share a different complete set of belief and live in a different set of reality sometimes. But we want people that understands us, that speaks to us, that speaks up for us, that speaks with us, not over us. We don't want to be belittled. We are all grown adults. We all know what the world is. We know how hard it is to earn money nowadays. We know how to make a decent living is not easy. And everyone just wants a fair opportunity for that to happen. And here, hi Abang Police, sihat. So here I think me and Raja and other candidates for Selangor, we are fighting for the same cause. We believe that Selangor can be better for people. The last time when we had changed our government, it took 50 years of administration and the arrogance to come with it before people think that, yes, we need change. It's been 15 years now. I hope we don't need to wait 35 years before the people sense the government that things need to change. The status quo is not good enough anymore. We are sick and tired of just sitting and listening and letting them do whatever they want. And we want there to be democracy. We want our local councillor to be elected. We want our representative to speak for us. And for you guys, the voice is Raja. For my guys over that side of town, I hope it's me lah. But give us a chance and let us prove to you that your trust in us will not be misplaced, that we will fight for you as hard as we fight for everyone else in the country. Thank you.
All right, let's do this again. Petaling Jaya. Again, it's too soft. I will not accept that. Petaling Jaya. If you want to go home, you have to be louder. Petaling Jaya. Okay, well done. Well done, PJ. All right, for our next speaker, here I would like to invite the president of Parti MUDA, Syed Saddiq himself. But before that, I would like to use this stage, because I'm on it, to say one thing about Syed Saddiq. A lot of people join MUDA because of Syed Saddiq. Fans, supporters. I did not. I joined MUDA to change the country. To be honest, Mr. President, I don't know where you are, but you're going to be here. I didn't really like you. But one day, during the Banjir, while we were busy saving people, he allowed me to sleep on his couch. And I made a mess. cups were on the table, plates were on the table, and when I woke up in the morning, he was cleaning it. He didn't even wake me up. And then, that was the time I knew this guy is my president. So I would like to invite Syed Saddiq to give his speech to the Bukit Gasing people. Wait, I don't see him coming. Sorry, is there a technical? Hold on. Technical difficulty. I'll check out what happened. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank God he didn't hear that speech, because now I almost regretted saying that. But he is not here, so he didn't hear any of that. So he will be in a bit. He's running a bit late, so I'm very, very sorry for that false start. But first, to continue on, to carry on, I would like to invite the calon for Bandar Utama, Abby Lim.
Wow. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby, and I am MUDA's candidate for N.36 Bandar Utama. Not sure if there's any of you that stays here, but hi. This is my first time doing this. It's always in the UN when it's all very proper. Feeling like a politician, actual politician already. So a lot of people are asking me why I enter into this political war zone. And I have a very simple answer for that. Throughout my entire career, it's all about giving back to the community. Like, how can I use my resources to help the communities? And I realized I want to bridge the gap between people, planet, and policymaking. And time again, there's this recurring issue of the lack of political will. And especially in Bandar Utama, we need better urban planning, better interconnectivity between public transportation and pedestrian accessibility. And we need to avoid developments that harms people. This is common sense to me, but I guess common sense is not common to everybody. And you know, when coming back from overseas, and there's a huge urgency of the changing of climate, coming back, the urgency is about the changing of the green wave. And when I came, you know, when I was observing the elections last year, and when I first saw the green wave, I initially thought, like, finally we have an environmental wave. And I was like cheering, I'm like, woo, okay. But when I realized the green wave means a whole new racist approach in politics, I just felt like I needed to do something. And this is mainly why I'm here. Let me just collect my thought, because I've never spoken in terms of a political speech before. It's always about, you know, the IPCC report, the Paris Agreement, the Minamata Convention. And every time when I speak to people about it, they're like, Abby, what is all this jargon? How can you translate back to the local communities? And this is one of the platforms that I'm using to translate all of the things that I've learned overseas back here. And when we talk about brain drain and, you know, there's not enough talent in Malaysia, but it's not true. It's just the lack of opportunity. And I've encountered a lot of people who've been trying to undermine my belief, but I've always been one to just take action and focus on the solutions instead of just complaining. And change is inevitable, whether you like it or not. And I personally feel that now is the time where we must have the courage to say, we can do better. Because we truly can. And I am not here running just to make a statement for my climate justice issue. I am not here to just pressure the incumbent. I am here to change the political landscape of Malaysia, one step at a time. And I am here for our future generation. But most importantly, I'm here to win. So that's a very short speech for me. Thank you so much.
All right, is he finally here? All right, Okay, Mr. President. Sadiq, just because you are late, you didn't hear my introduction about you. It was moving. People were crying. They were touched by you. But finally, I would like to introduce or mengajak President Parti Muda Syed Saddiq to the stage. Everybody, please give a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ta chia hao. Vanakkam yipriarkinge sat sri akal. It's a pleasure to be here, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest, this is new for us. Because MUDA now is 1 year and a half. But this is the first time where we are contesting on our own. And entering the state elections, to be honest, we are the underdog of the underdogs. Some see it as a good thing, some see it as a really tough thing. But I personally feel at home that our hearts are in the right place, that this will be a long journey, but a journey which will ultimately be worth it, because it is one where we invest in the future of our country, to make this blessed land a developed country, a country which celebrates diversity and multiracialism, a country where reforms are locked in, not just mentioned prior to elections, but forgotten after elections, a country in which we can all feel proud to call ourselves as Malaysians. As we enter these state elections, we will never be able to beat our opponents with flags, banners, and buntings. I think out of 100, we may have 5. We will not be able to beat them in terms of resources. We have no control over the federal government, state governments, ahli majlis, ketua kampung. I know because when I'm in government, I realize now they have tens of millions of ringgit allocated just on cyber troopers under JCOM, the same agency which they said they will abolish, but now still maintained. But while we don't have these resources, and while we are new and small, but we know we come with a lot of ideas and idealism to make this country a great country. And moving in, ladies and gentlemen, what I like to say is, every vote for MUDA is a vote for progress. Every vote for MUDA is a vote to be your voice of conscience, to be the check and balance which is desperately needed. Because the fact of the matter is today, in Bukit Gasing, to be very frank and honest, is some of you may have heard the fear-mongering tactics. MUDA is here to split votes. There's not much to split in Bukit Gasing because the last time around, PN got 2%. I mean, it's impossible to split to lead them to win. The total combined votes of BN and PH is 98%. Some say this is a suicidal mission. But I don't see it as a suicidal mission because I see this as investment for the future. And I believe what has happened recently has proven exactly why multiracial voters, moderate voters, should not be taken lightly. Because PN will not talk about the issues which we talk about. PN doesn't care about over-urbanization, about the need to transition to green energy. Perikatan Nasional will not talk about PJD link and the need to have an alternative voice. PN will not talk about public transportation and the need for us to ensure that we build resilient cities. But there's never been a strong alternative to truly defend that truly multiracial, diverse Malaysia and that voice of conscience as an alternative so that people will not be forgotten. You have seen the statements on PJD link. MUDA is not against development, but we are for transparency and accountability. How can, when now you're in control of federal and state government, but you still hide behind the Official Secrets Act? Why is there a fear to inform your voters as to the pros and cons of important development projects? Why expedite? And why suddenly the cancellation or half-hearted cancellation only being announced in the middle of campaign season? That was yesterday and today saying, oh, we may want to review and see what will happen after. What I can say is that if you give MUDA a chance, we will not fail you.
Because while we are new, we cannot be bought. And that while we are new, we are here to fight for the future of our country. We are young, but trust us that our hearts are pure. Because this election will not change the federal government. And I've said it before, I'm not in the business of changing federal governments. I want for there to be stability, but I want for there to be a voice of conscience and check and balance. The federal government still will be from the same coalition. State government from the same coalition. Your member of parliament in this area, my good friend, from the same coalition. Ahli Majlis, same coalition. Ketua Kampung, same coalition. From top to down, in Bukit Gasing, ladies and gentlemen, is from the same coalition. Why not give MUDA a chance to be your voice of conscience, to be the alternative, to ensure that if you are taken lightly and your votes are forgotten because PN will not be that opposition for you, that MUDA will stand with you. Whether it's on PJD linked, whether it's on stalled reforms, whether it's on championing the truly diverse and multiracial agenda, MUDA will be there because we are young, we are new, we have nothing to lose, and we will inherit this country because we are young, we care, we love, and we want to see this country become a developed country. Ideally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see a Malaysia which is truly developed. But what is the definition of a developed country? Is a developed country only about having high GDP growth per annum? Is a developed country only about having tall skyscrapers? To me, a developed country is one in which you have strong, resilient people's institutions that no matter who wins elections, that no matter who becomes the Prime Minister or Menteri Besar, no matter which party commands control of Putrajaya, our trajectory will always be moving forward. Because people's institutions are strong enough. Because there's no one party or anyone in Putrajaya can centralize power. And that's what MUDA stands for. We believe in empowering people's institutions, not hyper-partisanship. We believe in decentralization. What does that mean in practice? It means in the state of Selangor, if there are multi-billion-dollar projects, we do believe in electing our Ajli Majlis so that there's genuine accountability on the ground and supporting that third vote. It means that if there are major projects where it is on degazettement of forests, long-term concessions, it shouldn't be improved or approved only by Majlis Tindakan Ekonomi, which is controlled by the Excos and also the Menteri Besar. It must be put to a debate and forced to a vote so that people's voices will be listened and heard upon. And that every single, whether it is the environmental impact assessment, every single feasibility studies must be showed in public, must be debated, so that people's interests will be put at the top of the priority. That's what genuine accountability and transparency is about, but that comes with genuine checks and balances. And that's why in MUDA, we believe, and ideally we believe in building a political system that even if MUDA loses, we feel happy because we know that the winners will continue to move Malaysia forward because the institutions are strong enough, that there's no centralization of power. And that's what a developed country is truly about. A developed country is also one which promotes a system of equal opportunities, not equal outcomes. Equal opportunities through our education system. And that's why when the same coalition, which for the past 20 years have been telling us that enough of the pure race-based quota system, there is time for change, but today maintain the same system, MUDA will say that that is wrong because we do not care which race and which religion you come from, but if you come from an underprivileged family, you deserve a scholarship. You deserve a place because you are Malaysian. I'm not here to sell you a fake story by saying, Woman, Tosha, E. Charan, we're all one big family, but then when in power, we don't change policies. What MUDA will say is that if we are in government or even if we are in opposition, we start small. Work hard for the next 10 to 20 years. Win or lose, we'll work hard. Because we know our hearts are in the right place. We will remove the elite quota, which is only based on race per se, and we will reinstate a quota for all of those who come from B40 families, regardless of race and religion. We want to ensure that we build a system of equal opportunities. And I keep on telling, including to my Malay brothers and sisters, do not be afraid. Because I think that when we are put through the pressure cooker, that when we are confronted challenge, we become better people. I remember that when I represented my university in the international debating arena, when we went up against Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, there was no quota system. There was no special crutches. We had to compete on our merit. And we beat them on our merit. We became the best in Asia, and we became the number 2 in the world. And you know who beat my record in Asia? It wasn't NUS, it wasn't NTU. It was Mirzal Muhammad and Jasmine from UITM Shah Alam, who became number 2 in the world, beating Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge. We can do it. And that's why, I know some are saying, oh, every time when I speak about change, friends in PA, I still say friends because I don't like to make things personal. Friends in PA say, but Syed Sadiq, you have the shadow of Tun Dr. Mahathir behind you. They see my face, they see Tun M. I'm 30 years old, man, I'm not 98. But that aside, if you expect me to curse, I don't curse. But when he says that Malaysia is not for multiracialism, I will fight him on that because I am a beneficiary of multiracial Malaysia. When I was a kid, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a product of public schooling system. I went to Sekolah Kebangsaan, Sekolah Menengah, University Awam, and only then furthering my studies in Singapore. When I was a kid, I'm generasi Wawasan 2020. Remember Wawasan 2020? I see uncles also, young people here. When I was a kid, we'll be forced to draw. What will Wawasan 2020 be like? All of us will draw tall skyscrapers, flying cars. I don't know why flying cars will be a feature. But one important element of Wawasan 2020 is crucial pillar. If you read it back, just Wikipedia after this. Challenge number 1 is to unite Malaysians, regardless of race and religion, under the identity of Bangsa Malaysia. That's the true Wawasan 2020. And I grew up in that generation. And I'm proud to call myself a Malaysian first, without losing my identity as a Malay or as a Muslim. And I don't expect you guys to lose your identities, to lose your local dialect. Because what makes Malaysia a great country is that there is unity in diversity. That while we may be different in our own ways, ultimately our fates and our future are tied to one another. As one people, as one country. That when one race suffers, everyone suffers. But when one succeeds, everyone succeeds. And that's the ultimate Malaysian dream. And what I'd say is that if you give MUDA a chance, we will take on these tough battles. If they don't want to implement the third vote in having an election for your Ahli Majlis, so that I don't expect our adons to keep on doing the Ahli Majlis work. But these are all political appointments of today. MUDA will take that battle. If they want to play the politics of pandering, they want to pass the party. I don't want to pass. We don't want to do that. We are young, it's okay if we lose. But I will tell MUDA leaders and MUDA members of today, let's work the ground and invest in the next 20 years to change hearts and minds, no matter how difficult it gets, instead of pandering and sacrificing our principles. That's what MUDA wants to do. Being a son of a teacher, I take our education system very seriously. Because I'm a byproduct of the education system. And what I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at today, I'll share a few stats. If you look at the PISA rankings, back then not only were we behind Singapore, today we've also been outflanked by countries like Vietnam. And it doesn't stop there. If you look at the comprehension level of our students, a 15-year-old Malaysian has the same comprehension in math, science, as a 12-year-old Singaporean. We are 3 years behind. And with the pandemic And the digital divide, I think now it's grown from bad to worse. And while that is all happening, the demand to change our education system will always change. When you're in opposition, you say it's broken, we need to reform it, there are a lot of policy changes. But look at the tune today. What are the major substantial reforms in education? Do you see it? We know about the quota system, previously said something else, now nothing. But what other reforms in changing it? And you know what I can say effectively, if you look at me and many other MUDA leaders, we take these tough challenges. We say you need to overhaul our education system. Because we see a great hypocrisy when the political elites who are resistant to change our public education system, they say, Sadiq, it's too controversial, it's too difficult, we lose votes, we can't do this, we can't do that. But the same political elites don't even have the courage to send their children or grandchildren to public education. They send them either abroad to Eton College, to France, or to the most expensive private international schools. I'm not here to judge those who send their children to private international schools. But the least that you can do is to have the moral and political courage when you are in the seat of power to change and reform our education system to be a system of equal access so that all Malaysians can benefit from it. I want for every single product of our public school to be trilingual at minimum. Trilingual. And I can say this, we say, oh, you are eroding the important Bahasa. Hey, I can speak fluent Bahasa. I can also speak fluent English, and hopefully I will learn to pick up Mandarin and Tamil as well. I don't think I just want to be trilingual and learn at least 4 different languages. But if you look, those who say, oh, cannot, controversial, cannot. You know, even in Sekolah Berasrama Penuh and MRSMs, where largely a lot of Malay children are sent to, even in the elite schools, they must learn at least 3 languages. If you go to private international schools, you need to learn at least 3 languages. Why does suddenly it makes me less of a Malay or as a Malaysian when I can speak more languages, when I can truly be that united Malaysian in me? So if you ask me, I want to do so many reforms. MUDA wants to pursue all these changes. But we will be very honest with all of you. Will we be able to do it now because we are only contesting in 19 out of 240 seats? No, we will not be able to. I'm not here to sell you a fake dream. But what I can assure you, if every single of your vote, it will be a vote not wasted because you are sending young leaders to invest in that Malaysian dream for the next 10 years. Give us a chance to build that block to make Malaysia a developed country, ladies and gentlemen. I am concerned for my generation. I call my generation the sandwiched generation. Some may see us as those who have it easy. We didn't go through war. True, we didn't go through war, but we went through COVID. Different kind of war. More death than World War II. But above and beyond that, if you look at young people of today, more than 50% of them after SPM do not want to further their studies. And initially you think, it's their fault, they're spoiled. But if you look deeper, to get a degree in Malaysia today, you need to spend at least 6 years in university. 2 years pre-U, 4 years after. At times even longer if you take medicine. In other developed countries, when in Singapore, UK, US, 4 years only. That's 2 years of additional classes because of unnecessary compulsory subjects. I've made it very clear for MUDA, we're going to change it and we're going to reform it. But above and beyond that, when our graduates graduate today, do you know that engineers and architects today, after 6 years of studying, with 100,000 ringgit student debt in which they need to pay off, their starting salary is below 2,500 ringgit. That's in Kelang Valley, by the way. If you're in Terengganu, Kelantan, it's below 2,000 ringgit. After 6 years of studying, having 100,000 ringgit student debt, you start off with 2,000 to 2,500 ringgit. And this is no longer like the 1980s and 1990s. Our generation is the most asset-light generation. I think uncle and aunties, I remember even when I asked my mom, I come from a lower middle income family, my mom is a teacher. But my mom, even in her early 30s, she could already get a loan to buy a house, a loan to own a car. If you ask your children today whether they can own a house via a loan, of course, and a car, they'll say no. Often they'll not just be renting, they'll only be renting a room, renting a small car. Not like they want to rent a car, but unfortunately in many places, public transportation is still not accessible. So they must own a car because there's no other option. So we're an asset-light generation, low pay, suffering from chronic underemployment. The problem in Malaysia is not unemployment. Unemployment level is still about 2.9, 3.3%. But underemployment has reached 1.5 million. What does that mean? It means young people with degrees and masters, whether in engineering, law, but in the end working in fields which have absolutely nothing to do with their degrees and masters, and therefore being paid a suppressed salary. So we are stuck. We are an asset-light generation. It's very hard for us to start a new family. And above and beyond that, when we look at our parents' generation of today, look at the numbers post-pandemic. You know that the majority of retirees today do not even have 10,000 ringgit in their retirement fund, KWSP. Not even 10,000 ringgit. They're about to retire and they don't have 10,000 ringgit. How can they survive? And I'm very worried. People say MUDA is only a party for young people. No. We're a party for the future. And we're very worried when we see that, because when parents do not have a proper retirement fund, children will have to take up that burden. But children of today, as I shared, are also going through their own sets of problems. And that's a sandwiched generation. And that's why for MUDA, we want to talk about policies. Whether it's on wage transparency, whether it's on paid internships, income supplement packages like what Singapore does. But these are the debates which we want to bring on behalf of the people in the Dewan Undangan Negeri and in Parliament. And we'll see me, despite being a loner, single MUDA rep in Parliament, these are the issues which we debate about. These are the issues which we talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, what I hope is that in the end, we share the same dream. A dream in which sees Malaysia not just tolerating diversity, but celebrating diversity. A dream in which Malaysia will be a developed country governed by strong people's institutions, that even if the worst version of a leader which you may think of the worst version you can think of, imagine that person as Prime Minister. Malaysia will still be on the path forward because our people's institutions are strong enough, with decentralization of power, proper checks and balances. A country in which public education becomes the #1 choice because if it is of great quality. A system in which wages are good, where public transportation becomes a genuine option, not one in which having a private car is a necessity. That's a dream which I have, which I know many members of MUDA share as well, no matter how difficult the road ahead will be. So I like to end my speech by saying this. Give us a chance to be your voice. Because rest assured that whether we win or lose, MUDA will be by your side, investing in the future of Malaysia, in making this country a great country. It will be a long, long road ahead. I told my colleagues when we made this decision, prepare for the worst. But at the same time, make sure that our hearts are in the right place. I know I can sleep better today. I know that the road ahead will be tough. But I'm willing to sacrifice for the next 10 to 20 years. Because I know many before me have sacrificed even more to see that Malaysian dream be made a reality. Every vote for MUDA is a vote to realize that Malaysian dream. Thank you very much, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's very quickly, talking about the Malaysian dream, I obviously have to vouch for my brother here. I just want to share one thing. If you look at the list of MUDA candidates, the reason why I really feel at home, some parties will say that they are multiracial. But what I can tell you, if you look at our 19 candidates, they truly represent the true spirit of Malaysia. Young and old, truly multiracial, multi-religious, and also being the first party to field more than half women in this election. And I like to say this, it wasn't because of a quota, it's because they genuinely deserve it. These are people who are willing to fight the tough fight in investing for the future. So I hope the people of Bukit Gasing, please give us a chance, because we will be by your side to be your voice of conscience and check and balance. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Without further ado, I would like to announce our final speaker. The calon, your calon for Bukit Gasing, VKK Raja.
Thank you. Thank you. Eastern Adipotri, Yende Adipotri, Desan Adipotri, Sivan Sevidi Potri. Selamat sejahtera, Tacha Hao, Vanakkam. You know, I actually have a very heavy heart now at the fact that, having to speak. I'm going to have a word with the team because I told them, I don't want to go after him. It's a big challenge. But a very heavy heart because to stand next to these leaders who have the vision and also the tenacity to drive what exactly Malaysia should be. And that's what we want, right? I want to be telling you where, what, how, who am I? And the fact that a lot of people ask questions, Raja, where do you come from? I haven't seen you anywhere. I actually live in section 16, 16/3. My biggest critic, my dad, he's sitting in his, and the fact that, it's actually a very proud moment for me because this is exactly, he envisioned 20, 30 years, not for me, for him. Because he was a politician and he was a failed politician. And I got to rub it a bit because he had a very good heart. In fact, not many know him when in his heydays in the 90s and all that stuff, the things that he has done. I know there'll be months I don't see him. He goes out in the morning, he comes back at night. Okay, my mother is not here because she used to make the dosa at 3 o'clock in the morning. But there he was, a man who was actually giving his energy, his time and his effort for the country, for the community. No doubt he was in MIC, but his drive was driven because he wanted to serve everyone. And I wouldn't be here for his coaching, for his love and passion. Because I remember when he was a senator in the parliament in 1996, he took me in. He showed me the Dewan Rakyat. He showed me exactly how debates are being conducted. And that drove me to see how is it to be a Wakil Rakyat. And the fact that I knew that one day I might be able to do this, but I need to build myself. I come from a third generation businessman, and the fact that a lot of people think, oh, Raja is a bit elitist, but T20. Sometimes, when I go talk to people, where do you live? I live in section 16. Oh, atas sikit, But it's not true. The fact that, although I was privileged, at the age of 16, I still remember that he told me, you're going to go work at the office. And I said, okay, I'm going to sit in your office table. Like your business. No, he actually made me do coolie job. And the fact that you cannot be a boss if you don't know what your staff handle every day. You need to know what the people are doing for you in order to succeed as a boss. And that I took to heart because the thing is, right, of course, in my daily life, I tell my staff, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's exactly what Wabi Sadiq said, and the fact that I believe that he is now walking the talk. He is actually making sure that we deliver, right? There are promises made by both sides, and they're not being fulfilled. And we want to be the voice of conscience. We want to make sure there's a check and balance in this state election. I mean, a lot of times that they talk about the government is going to fall if they vote for MUDA. And I said, how is that possible? If the federal government has 148 MPs who are supporting their initiative, the unity government, including by Wabi Sadiq also. So how is that going to affect, or how is the state elections going to affect the federal government? It is not. It's just fear-mongering and pandering. And I believe that changes need to be happening within the society itself. We need to take charge of what we want to do in Bukit Gasing. There's been selective changes that are happening in certain areas, and when it comes to certain other areas, they don't take care of it. Because they feel that, you know, I'm well taken care of if it's an affluent area. When it's non-affluent area, it's okay lah, you know, I don't have to take care and all this stuff. But that has to stop. Because when you are Wakil Rakyat, you need to serve everyone, no matter how difficult it is. And I just want to thank the team, the campaign team, when Wabi Sadiq actually called me to his house and he said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Ready for what?" "I want you to stand in this election." I was like, okay, that's a big challenge. But the encouragement and also the guidance given by the party, the things that we want to do for this state elections, if we are elected, when we are elected, we want to make sure that your voice is heard in the State Assembly. Now we are arguing, not far from here, the project called PJD Link, which is previously called as KIDEX. It was initiated in 2013. A lot of people remember there was a massive construction that was connecting Kinrara to Bandar Utama. But it was actually cancelled in 2013 by the previous government, and it was rebadged as PJD Link. Some of you are directly affected by that development. Some of the residents in Section 1, Section 2 do not know anything about this until they saw a surveyor right in front of their doorstep, and they asked, "What are you doing here?" "No, we're actually looking at the project that's going to happen in a few months." That shocked them. Now, the volunteers behind who championed say no to PJD Link, they actually fought this case, right? And kudos to them. I'm not taking the credit, or nor MUDA is taking credit, but they actually fought something that the Adons that should have been doing for that project, right? Because where was their voice until now? When MUDA decided to champion this, right, for that people, for that group, now suddenly, mysteriously, it's now cancelled. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm getting calls from people saying that, "Raja, what are you going to do? Do we now get ready for another judicial review? Do we now stand by?" Truth be told, PJ is an aging population. Now, everyone knows, now look, you guys are retirees who've been living in this area, and you're very comfortable. The last thing that you want is overdevelopment. The last thing you want is a highway on top of your house. Believe me, that is just going to cause more traffic jam, more bottlenecks. Okay, more cars is going to be just coming here, and believe it, the developer is going to make more money, right? In the expense of every one of us. If you look at the project of PGD Link, it has actually acquisitioning land, not just from houses, but from schools, from prayer houses. And it's shocking that they can actually do this, for what? That so they can actually make a couple of billion constructing this. The project also has not seen the end of it because 7th of June, the developer actually secured a financing of 922. That was just like a month ago, right? And today it's cancelled. And then MB, out of 24 hours, he said like it is not cancelled. It may be looking at other reviews and all that stuff. But he said, look, we need to stop this. And if MUDA is not in the State Assembly, who is going to stop? Because I don't see the Adons, the incumbents, or the MB saying anything other than it may be stopped, right? I am actually concerned about this constituency because the other factor that is actually losing traction is we do not have a lot of younger generation. Only 15% of the constituency are below the age of 30. Many of our children, not my children are still young, but eventually they will want to leave this country, right, for better opportunities, for better work. But I tell them, look, there's so many opportunities here, but I have to show them the way how. Now, I want to create an ecosystem or a hub for startup companies in PJ that allows them to develop their own businesses. They have the passion. We just need to give them the right tools, the right mentoring, the right funding, right? There's always networks. I think the Aduns, I can actually look at developing the constituency rather than fixing drains, because this is where I think we need to look at actual local councillors doing that job, okay? And I'm advocating for local council elections to be brought in the next sitting. That is something that I think we will stick to. Now, aging population, job opportunities, we need to also look at the well-being of urban poor. Statistically, Bukit Gasing, you never know all this data until you look at DOSH and the statistic department, that the urban poverty is actually on the rise in Bukit Gasing itself, right? We need to take care of this issue before it becomes rampant. There's evidence to say that a lot of retirees only have about 10,000 ringgit in their savings, and they are retirees. How are they going to find a job to actually to support themselves? Now we need to look at opportunities to give them an opportunity to a job offer or a level of experienced people to get enough day by day. I've just spoke to someone who is retired and said, like, can I join your campaign? I was like, by all means, do join. And this is the ways that we can actually develop the society itself. I have interns who I just hired who, look, after this, I want to leave, I want to go to Singapore because there's better opportunities. I said, no, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here. You're going to find a job. We're going to create an environment, a safe environment for all youngsters, for all generations. Okay? This is home. This is our PJ. It is our community. All right? I am not going anywhere. Like you said, win, lose, I will always be here. All right? We will win. Okay? I want to thank the team that's put up this Ceramah community. Abul, fantastic job. When we arrived here, there were rubbish bags, and I actually I could have done a TikTok, but it's very lame. But this young man, he actually picked those rubbish, chucked it aside, and made sure that it's not seen by any one of us. Right? My campaign manager, Liban, who tirelessly working for this campaign, not just for me, for I think many other candidates, right? And he's actually working for MUDA tirelessly. And I want to thank, there's so many names. I mean, it's very dark. I have many of you to thank for me being here, and especially Wabi Sadiq. Let's make this change. Believe in us. With your trust in us, we can do this. We will be your voice in the State Assembly. Thank you.
All right, the people of PJ, the people of Section 11, the night have come to an end. I would like to thank you guys for coming. But before that, don't go yet. We have to go our retro. When I say PJ, you say guitar. And if it's not loud enough, I will not allow you guys to go home. 1, 2, 3, PJ! Guitar! PJ! Guitar! PJ! Guitar! All right, you have heard from our calon in Bukit Kasing, in Bandar Utama, and also in Sri Setia. Please vote for them. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Sorry. Can we just have a seat for a few minutes? There's one more speaker who would like to say something. Here you go, sir. The father of Raja.
Can I be? Where's my agent? Oh, no, Chief. Raja, can you push me to face the crowd? Is it? It is. Oh dear, it's a hot day. Did I see the newspaper man Krishnamurti in town? No. Ladies and gentlemen, I never expected these young people are so vibrant. They speak so well. Oh my God, that is the future for MUDA. People, of course, there are many apprehensions. MUDA might take away this vote, that vote. What difference is going to do to the state government, which the Pakatan Harapan has got 54 seats. So let us have a new fledgling party that stands for a lot of Malaysian beliefs. Malaysian, they also have a dream. I had a dream. 50 years ago, Martin Luther King had a dream. But 50 years later, the first black president came by. So believe in yourselves, and I know it's going to be tough. I saw the statistics of the last elections. The DAP is very, very strong. I have no doubt about it. But if you keep on, if it is possible, so sometimes the dreams can come true. And I hope it comes through. I've not come here to praise my son, but he's a nice, gentle human being. If you give him half a chance, he will love to crawl into your heart with all the love in his heart. Well, I wish him well. Thank you very much, and I'm impressed. His mother-in-law is also there. She's not here. I thought that she looks like Lucinda. Okay.